And it was beautiful. I'm looking at this wheat swaying, and I'm realizing I'm crouched down on the ground, and I'm peering through the tops of these wheat. And the wheat is golden, like it's ready for harvest. And I'm noticing the colors around me. It's almost like they're sparkling or moving, the color in them. I mean, the wheat is swaying itself, but the color is almost like it's alive. And as I peer past the wheat, I'm looking into the distance and I see Jesus. And he is standing profile to me. So I would be looking at his left side. And so I gaze up and he's wearing white robes and he is looking down at someone and he's talking to them. And I can hear that he's talking, but I can't hear what he's saying. And so I look at this person and this person is also in white robes, but they're down almost like in a warrior position where they have one knee up, one knee down, one fist on the ground and the other on their knee. And I just know in my head, even though I can't hear what's going on, that Jesus is giving this person orders. And I kept trying so hard to hear. I was teaching preschool and I was also going to school online. I was also very unhealthy at the time, depressed. I was over 200 pounds, very unhappy. But, I mean, when you go through your day to day, you're like, oh, it's just stress. I'm just busy. There's so much going on in my head. I'm a mom of two, a military spouse. So there's a lot of extra duties in there as well. As any wife or husband whose spouse works really long hours, that just requires more of you. You don't have that teammate always there to support you. And so it was a lot of teaching little kids at school, teaching my own little kids, and learning about how to count. So I was very stressed and very tired. That evening, we had gotten off of work and we were going to go celebrate my husband's birthday. And he loves hibachi. And so we went to go do that. We had sushi. We had the typical hibachi items you would get, the rice, the meat. And it was really hard to be excited about anything because my husband had just found out that it was going to be his turn to deploy. He's in the Air Force. It was really hard to celebrate and put on the happy face. The kids didn't know yet. We wanted to wait until before we tell them so that they could be happy for daddy and celebrate. And so it was really hard to put on a happy face. After we had dinner, we went home where I had made a chocolate cake, box mix, whatever was fast, but we wanted to celebrate daddy. So a chocolate cake with chocolate icing. And we gathered around the dining room table at this point with the cake and we lit the candles and sang happy birthday, all the things you do. And we're cutting up the cake and handing it to each kid. And we just look at each other. We have this moment where we are incredibly saddened that we have to break their little hearts. And so we finally take the step and, hey, kids, daddy will have to deploy here in I think it was a couple of months at that point, and instant tears. Celebration gone. They're breaking down. And that was hard. So I'm crying. And I think I had like 3 pieces of cake at this point, just trying to make myself feel better. And my husband eventually took the kids upstairs and I cleaned up the cake. And I remembered my daughter had a science project that was due the next day. So I went ahead and I took it. It was like that 3-fold poster kind. And I'm carrying it out and putting it in the van. And as I'm standing out there, I have one foot on the ground and kind of one knee in the van. And I'm trying to shove this project in. And I feel something bite. And I look down and it's a fire ant. Now, we lived in South Carolina at the time. We were stationed at Shaw Air Force Base. We'd been there 5 years. And fire ants were nothing new to me at all. They sting you and it itches and it can take a few weeks to go away, but no big deal. More like a painful inconvenience. So I feel the sting and I was like, I know exactly what that is. And I go to brush it off and there are dozens of them crawling all over and up my leg. And so just irritated, I stumble back and I wipe them all off, close up the van. I go inside and I probably get about 4 feet into the house and I realize something is wrong. almost like at first you can't tell exactly what it is, but your brain shifts. There's something wrong. And I kind of thought, maybe I had a lot of stings. Maybe I'll just go take some Benadryl. So I walk into the kitchen and I'm shuffling through our little basket of medications and I can't find it. And suddenly this heat starts to rise from my feet and it's coming up. And instantly I knew I was in big trouble. And so I scramble over to the stairs and I'm trying to get up the stairs and I make it to our bed where my husband is holding my kids and they're all crying. And he sees the look on my face. And I said, go find the Benadryl. And he darts downstairs. And the kids don't know what to make of this. They're going from one traumatic conversation to some other trauma. Oh my gosh, mom's in trouble. And they're little. They don't really understand. I believe my daughter was in 4th grade and my son was in 1st grade at the time. And so my husband is downstairs looking for medicine. And all of a sudden, my eyes feel really heavy and things start to kind of darken, almost like tunnel vision. And I feel myself wanting to collapse. And at the same time, this huge wave of nausea comes over me. And I think I have got to make it to the bathroom like any responsible person, right? You don't want to leave a mess. So I am crawling to the bathroom and I make it about halfway around the bed. And I see my daughter and I look at her and I said, tell daddy to call 911. And she is absolutely in shock. And I tell her to go and she runs downstairs and I crawl half blind into the bathroom and I make it on the toilet. And I will spare people the very gruesome details, but my body evacuated everything. All 3 pieces of chocolate cake and all of the hibachi. And I couldn't move off of where I was, couldn't stop throwing up. And my husband came over and he's like, they're on their way. Now, at the time we lived on base, thank God, because the ambulance and the fire station were really close. There's one on every base, right? So he's like, you gotta get out of the bathroom. And my eyes are closed at this point. I cannot open them. And I am praying. And I'm like, I can't get out of here. And I am calling out to God, please, please. I knew I was dying. And I was begging God, please, please don't take me yet. And the firemen get there and they're asking me to open my eyes. And I'm like, I cannot open my eyes. I can't. And they're very concerned. They're seeing the content of what's around them and they're scared. And they know exactly what is going on. But the paramedic hadn't gotten there yet. And so eventually they lift me up and I instantly pass out. And when I wake up, I am no longer in my bathroom. I am looking at wheat swaying in the wind right in front of my face. And it's almost like when you wake up, kind of, blink a couple times and get your wits about you. What is going on? And I feel such a peace, like you're surrounded by love and there's no burden. It's kind of amazing. You don't realize until you have an experience like this what a burden it is to even breathe. There was no stress, nothing. And it was beautiful. I'm looking at this wheat swaying and I'm realizing I'm crouched down on the ground and I'm peering through the tops of these wheat. And the wheat is golden, like it's ready for harvest. And I'm noticing the colors around me. It's almost like they're sparkling or moving, the color in them. I mean, the wheat is swaying itself, but the color is almost like it's alive. And as I peer past the wheat, I'm looking into the distance and I see Jesus. And he is standing profile to me. So I would be looking at his left side. And I'm realizing I'm kind of on a small dune or a hill. And the embankment slopes down a couple feet and turns into almost like a beach. But it's a river or a lake. It's not a giant ocean. And the water is lapping at his feet. And I remember just staring at the water. It's amazing and it's hard to explain this because it doesn't make sense in real life how I could be 20 feet away and have an image up closer of the water. But the water, just like the wheat and the things around me, they were sparkling like they were alive in color. And it was amazing. And it was lapping at his feet. And so I gaze up and he's wearing white robes and he is looking down at someone and he's talking to them. And I can hear that he's talking, but I can't hear what he's saying. And so I look at this person and this person is also in white robes, but they're down almost like in a warrior position where they have one knee up, one knee down, one fist on the ground and the other on their knee. And I just know in my head, even though I can't hear what's going on, that Jesus is giving this person orders. And I kept trying so hard to hear. And I look at the person again and I realize that it's me. And it's not a recognition like I recognized my face. It was a knowing. That's me. He's talking to me. And so I try even harder to lean in and listen, and I can't make it out. And then, like that, I'm pulled back. And remember, all of a sudden, I can feel the fireman holding me and the paramedic rubbing my leg. And the paramedic had finally shown up and given me an EpiPen. And I still couldn't quite open my eyes. And I was mad. I was so angry because who wants to come back? That place was beautiful, peaceful. Jesus was there. I was very upset that I came back and a little grumpy, I guess, because I said someone was talking to me. Like I was mad at them that they brought me back. I was in the middle of a conversation. You brought me back. And the paramedic said, it was me. You were talking to me. And I said, no, it was not you. Oh, I was so unhappy. And I actually struggled with that for days. You know, you really struggle with that as a person because I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and I felt awful for feeling that way. But it took me weeks to process and to realize that Jesus allowed me to come back for a reason. I've often wondered, will I ever know what Jesus was saying to me? Will I ever really know? Will he reveal it to me? And I think now, because this happened in late 2019, right before COVID. So looking back now, I think I was looking at the future. I think there will be a point in my future when I go before Jesus and he will be giving me orders. I don't know if I'm going to war. I don't know. But I have hope that I will see him again. But my goodness, I am looking forward to the day Jesus takes me home. I no longer fear death, other than, I'm still a mother and a spouse, and I don't want to leave them sad and here, but I'm looking forward to it. There's not enough words in the English language to explain the beauty and the peace that I experienced up there. Enough time has passed now to where being here is more normal again. I'm back to stressing about the little things. And so I often have to remind myself that in the scheme, in the big picture, they don't really matter. But I do miss home. It feels like I left a part of me up there. And so I'm looking forward to going back to home. But yes, I was on my bathroom floor. In fact, after the incident, of course, they had to carry me downstairs. And I apologized the whole time because I knew I was very heavy at that time. I was well over 200 pounds and I'm only 5'4". So that was obese for me. And I hear them huffing and puffing and struggling down the stairs. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I went, to the hospital because they have to take you after an epi shot. And I went back and I found the firemen and the paramedics and I wanted to tell them thank you. Because honestly, if they hadn't been right there and gave me an EpiPen, because I didn't have any, I've never needed one, I probably would have died. And I was so grateful to them. And when I talked to them, when I went to go see them and thank them, I asked how long I was out. And they said, what are you talking about? You never went unconscious. I was like, oh, yes, I did. But it's interesting to me that I had this experience that probably, if I had to put a time to it, it felt like maybe 5 or 10 minutes of an experience. And to them, I wasn't gone at all. But I did collapse. And I did go unconscious. But I guess he must have gotten there right away to bring me back. So that was really an interesting, scope of things. To feel like you were gone for quite a while. And they're like, no, I don't think you even left at all. I did. I was in a body because I knew I was crouching. So yeah, I almost wonder if was it heaven or was I getting a glimpse into the future of the new earth? Because the Bible says there will be a new heaven and a new earth. And I often wonder, was that the new earth? Was that me in heaven? And I also wonder the significance of the wheat. What a random little bit of thing going on right in front of my face. And so I've wondered if there's some type of meaning. And I wonder now if that means that standing between me and that moment of time, there will be some kind of harvest. And maybe I will get to be a part of that in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know. I don't know what the significance of that. What was the significance of the water lapping at Jesus's feet? Was that just that's where we were? So there's so many questions that I have. Oh, my husband didn't deploy. I think that's an important thing to share. We were really scared because I had almost died and my husband was getting ready to leave and fire ants are everywhere. My husband's thinking, is my wife going to die while I'm in Afghanistan? What? And not long after that, he was completely out processed and ready to deploy. I think he was 2 weeks out and he got orders to Utah, which in the military, that doesn't happen. Deployment is the highest priority. If you are set to deploy, that is where you're going. And he got orders to Utah. And that was such a huge answer to prayer because we were really worried. I think the way I parent is a little different now. I have a lot more patience. I spend more time thinking about the big picture and definitely the career change. I think even my relationship with my husband changed because this was something we had to deal with together. We had to navigate this together. He now has a wife that doesn't even want to be here, but also encouraged because of what I saw. So my relationships with the people around me, I also found that I wasted a lot less time on relationships that maybe weren't very fruitful. I really zoned into what was important. And I pray more now for God to constantly guide what it is He has for me around the corner. Equip me, Lord. Show me, let the Holy Spirit guide me in whatever decision, whatever's next, whatever's going on. And it definitely increased I was so busy. I don't think I was spending enough time in prayer and in the Bible. And this definitely changed my entire perspective. And it also changed, it's almost like I feel the presence of God with me all the time. He's always here. And before it was just like, oh yeah, Jesus, God's everywhere. He's with you. You have the Holy Spirit in you. He's with you. This is like, He's with me. And I can feel that He's with me. I can feel His presence. And I so much more easily can draw close to Him. And when I have to make decisions, it can become very clear to me. I'll have a peace, and I know that peace because I got to experience that peace. So now, when I feel that peace, then I know that's the direction He has for me. And if I feel anything other than that, then I'm more hesitant and I think about it a little bit more. It changed everything. The best thing I can offer with my experience would be that Jesus is real. I know a lot of people, and I still encounter many people who, yeah, I believe in Jesus, but and he was to me before too. Like, yeah, I believe He's there, but kind of this distant thing, and maybe even moments of doubt where you're like, well, I hope I'm right. This is an absolute, He is there. He is there. And it's hard for us to really have that deep faith and understanding because we are creatures who want to see things to believe them. We are. Jesus knew that when He was here, but He is real and He's waiting for us and He loves us. And I just would really want people to take heart and seek Him because He wants to hear from us and He wants to show up in our lives. And even if it's not a near-death experience, He has an experience for you, whatever that looks like. And so I would encourage people to just know He's there. He's real. He loves you. And to seek Him. Look for Him. Look for Him in the world around you. It's what I tell my kids. Look for the beauty of God around you. Notice how things seem to work out in a way that only He can put the pieces together. Like my husband getting orders to Utah, I believe it saved my life. It allowed me to live longer and not have another experience. But that's something only He could do. That is unheard of. So I hope people hear this and just know and look for Him.